couple of things. Uh, this is a little late night video. We're here in Mesa, Arizona. When I was a pre-med before medical school, there were a couple things that you are required to do to essentially get into med school, and that is essentially to volunteer, right? But I wanted to do something more, right? So we started a nonprofit where we get produce from Mexico that's was literally would go into the landfills, okay? And what we do is we rescue that produce and we distribute it to the homeless shelters. But I thought of something better. I said, well, what can we do to make a greater impact? So essentially, what we did was we went to low income apartment complexes, okay? And the one I'm residing in right now, we were is part of this low income apartment complex, and I wanted to show you a couple of cultural things that I was like, wow, this is incredible, right? So I think that you guys would really enjoy this. So we have this. We've been featured on Netflix. Uh, it's called Restaurants on the Edge. There's an episode about us in season 2. We have the produce here. We bring in the produce. And what we do is we take this produce and we distribute it, and everyone around the city, including the mayor, they come down here, and it's a hub for people that unfortunately cannot afford to drive to go get produce, whether they don't have a car or is it because they don't have just the money, right? But I wanted to show you something incredible here, okay? So I don't want to creep up, in front of somebody's door. But there's there's a guy right now picking up cans. He lives here, okay? Okay? And for people that don't know, they take these cans and they put them in front of the door. So this guy comes in, he goes in the trash, he picks up the cans, and it's part of his making an income because I think he gets like 5 cents a can, okay? Now I say this because, it hurts that there's so much greed in this world that, Mother Earth is so beautiful that it could just be able to live comfortably. But that, ah, he's, I see, there he is. There's the guy. So what they do, what they do here is they purposely, what they do is they purposely, it's the Hispanic culture. Us, as Americans, who don't know, fully understand this culture, when we find someone littering right here, when they put these bottles on the floor and cans on the floor, we think that this is extremely disrespectful. Like, why are these people like, oh my God, these dirty, disgusting? No, they do it on purpose. So the guy can have a job. The guy can easily get the cans. It's really marvelous. Let me show you exactly. And they do this every day. And sadly, there's high rates of alcoholism here. But you can see there's just cans everywhere. And they put this on purpose so the guy, it's like, oh, someone's going to have a job for this. And it gives someone a living, right? I'll show you a place here that has a lot of cans. And it's like, oh, dude, this looks like a party. No, it's literally, some people put it in bags, and some people just put it outside like this right here. Look, let me show you. Look at that, right? It's a part of the culture. Hold on, Sonia. It's a part of the culture where they the guy comes and collects the cans, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he collects the cans, and then what ends up happening is he is able to make an income. He makes around $200 to $300 probably a month off of this, and he lives in this unit. But you can see the community here, how they help each other, and they have this like knit culture, and I find this so interesting because it's just different. It's just different. Now, I see a lot of children here. I see a lot of kids here. Do I want this type of life for these folks? No. The guy shouldn't be waking up at 3, 4 a.m. in the morning getting cans just to go ahead and support his family, just a side gig, right? But it just shows you I love that there's some form of community here, which is why we brought the produce here and why we support this community. We rescued millions of pounds of fresh produce. But I realized that I felt like I got in a position where it's like I know all this about the market. We know how to set up intrinsic value. And we're doing all of these amazing things, but it's like, how do we translate this to folks? And the best way to do it is education invest. Listen, this is going to be the truth of life. If you do not know how to invest, if you do not know how to make and put your money to work, it's going to get to a point where America is going to be a very difficult place to live in. So I just found this so incredibly interesting how literally I saw old ladies put in cans outside just so the guy can be able to make some form of money. It is just incredible, right? So this is it's a different story, but I just far away from the market, but I just find this so interesting that I wanted to show you guys. I think I saw someone said moon soon. Well, we'll talk about the stock market when I have my computers in front of me and all my data, but I just find this so interesting. Because for me, it's like, why are these cans on the floor? Why are they tossing it on the floor? And then someone literally explained to me what was happening. I was like, oh. It's just crazy. It's just a different. It's different. No, I appreciate that, Heavy Chevy. It's just a different outlook on life. It's like something that you would not, you just, if you're not in it, you just don't know. So I just wanted to raise the awareness. So it's crazy. Yeah. So if you are in Mesa, in Arizona, we have a nonprofit. I'm the president of the La Mesa division of Produce on Wheels Without Waste. We rescue millions of pounds of fresh produce and we give it to low income areas. And we because the thing is, if you eat healthier, you live longer. You have low rates of diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and all these different types of things. And the problem is, the food is helping. The food helps this community, but how can we get them out of in terms of out of this social class? And the best way to do it is education. The power of education is one of the only ways to do vertical mobility in this country. When I say vertical mobility, elevate your social class. So that's the thing. Some folks, they come in the market, they're like, oh, I want to make money in the market. But they're starting off with $1,000, $2,000, That's not a lot. That's not a lot. You have to find ways to increase your income so you're able to essentially put your money to work, right? So it's just stuff that, you got to think about. How do I increase my income? Degree, maybe the master's, the MBA might help. MBA might be able to increase it by maybe an extra 20, 30K. Maybe you're doing this job and that, and maybe it's time to look for another one. There's so many different ways. Maybe you want to start up that business that you've always wanted to start up. You got to have enough not only to live, but also to invest in both ways, not just stocks individually. See if you can max out your, your tax savings account. And some of you guys can match it with your employers. That if you put in a couple, let's say $1, they'll match it with $1, right? No, I really appreciate that, Heavy Chevy. No, it really means a lot. It's a different look. It's a different culture. It's something different. And I have the privilege. I've been doing this nonprofit here for 5 years, man. I've been doing this I've won so many awards, but they mean nothing. They're just, if I don't somehow be able to kind of write this documentary here to show this culture, there is a beauty to it. But the sad part is all this alcohol drinking leads to cancers, leads to alcoholism, leads to obesity, liver. There's something called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, right? NASH, non-alcoholic. You have like steatosis in the liver. Then you have fatty liver disease, which is alcoholic. It's an alcoholic syndrome. And all these things just compound in this community. Then a lot of Hispanic populations, they have single nucleotide polymorphisms. I know that's a long word, but it makes them susceptible for fatty liver disease. It makes them susceptible for diabetes. All these different types of things. And these are all genetics and epigenetic factors. And that's already the baseline there. And if you go ahead and you add in this environment where you have people so greedy in Wall Street, so freaking greedy, you get these factions in society, or you get extreme poverty. Now, I'm not saying that, this is a beautiful place to live, but I'm saying that it gets it to a point where it's like right now, there are people in Manhattan that have $5, $10, $20 million condos, apartment complexes. You have to sometimes ask yourself, like, does that make sense? Does that make sense to have so much wealth? You're just collecting it. And the sad part is, the more wealth you have, I don't know if, some folks on here, we do have a lot of physicians, and haven't you realized, as your net income increases, you command a lot of power in this country. And it's easier for you to start a business. It's easier for you to just do something. But the sad part is, as you keep growing, you take market share. And the more market share you take, the more businesses you take, it eats away at these it just eats away at the total money supply, to a point where how much money is left for the have-nots of society? How much money is left for the poor? You understand what I'm saying? Like, you get to a point where as we become more advanced, AI becomes stronger. Automation starts taking over these McDonald's jobs. You're already starting to see it with the cashier. Those jobs are being replaced. The more jobs you take from communities like this, and it gets to a point where it becomes harder. Yes, another CEO who designed this automation gets that money now, right? Because the McDonald's would pay 6 figures for that upfront cost of being able to put that so they don't have to pay workers, but that takes money from the system, right? That takes money from the system. And the sad part is, the rich are not going to get affected. The people that are going to be affected are communities like this. And this is a problem in the United States. And the problem is even much worse outside of the United States. So what is the answer? Well, obviously I don't have all the answers, but the best thing that I can understand is you have to educate yourself on how to make money. You have to educate yourself on how to read financial statements, how to put your cash to work. To when you're sleeping, your cash is working for you. While you're working, your cash is working. Now, is life about money? No, it's not. But we live in a world where it is. This is the game. It's like you're playing this simulation of life, this chess game. And the thing that in order to move, in order to make moves, you have to have the tokens to play. You can't go from, X to B without having money to travel. You can't see the beauties of the waterfalls of the world without having money to travel. You can't have good health care without having money, sadly. Especially good health care, right? So these are the issues that we have, and the only way that I can conceptualize with all my education, with all my experience, is to come on this freaking YouTube to teach people about how the stock market works. And they don't teach this. I've been in school, and it's funny, I look at all these folks and I'm like, wow, I got no education in the markets. I had to literally teach everything on my own. You know what I mean? I had to literally, from experience, trial and error, all of it, reading books, hundreds of books, about the market and how to understand the stock market from billionaires. And it's so sad that they don't teach this. It's almost like the system wants you poor. It's almost like the system wants to perpetuate the cycle of poverty, right? Let's see here. The answer is Lou, show Jesus. I love you guys. You guys are hilarious. But yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's just different. It's just a different feel. So I just wanted to show you this perspective, a different perspective. Because I was just so shocked when I came here. Like, why are these people just dumping the cans out? There's literally a trash can right next to them. And then someone explained to me, oh, because somebody comes here and they help him out so he can make money. Learned about this is like so true. The people that are most poorest, they give the most. People that have, you know, those videos that you see on YouTube where the guy asks for money and then the homeless guy ends up basically helping out the person? The people that have the least give the most. And I just don't know I just don't know why. I just don't know why money can be so corrupting. It's just so fascinating how it can be so greedy and addicting and corrupting. There's folks that live in this world that have generations worth of cash, generational wealth that, you know, they're able to basically, you know, survive for the next thousands of years. And it's completely mind-boggling how this world is. It's just completely shocking. You know what I mean? If you have to think about it, you know, why do people not teach about Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham on how to essentially evaluate stocks in high school? Why don't they teach about that? But they teach you about stuff like the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, right? I need to know that, right? For medicine, right? Because there's mitochondrial diseases and that are inherited by maternal, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. But honestly, even then, right? No, I laughed really hard. No, I laughed really hard, King. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Oh man, that is scary for the GME, man. It's so scary, man. It's greed, man. I'm telling you, man. When you get to that level, dude, it's just you're not happy. You're never happy because I mean, think about it. You guys probably felt it too. Oh, I want to make a million. I want to make 2, 3. You know what I mean? It's just crazy, man. It's crazy the world we live in. It's crazy, dude. Some of these folks, you know, they're having a hard time, but a lot of them, dude, when I see them out here barbecuing, they're so happy. They're so happy. They have a beautiful culture. It's just, for my problem is, I don't want to see them. I don't want to see the guy wake up at 3 a.m. collecting cans right now. You know what I mean? It sucks, dude. It sucks, which is why I picked this area to distribute of pounds of fresh produce, because this area needs it the most, right? You see, look at this right here. Look. See how they put? Watch, look. See how they put the bottles here for the person to get the bottles? They just literally leave it right here for the person, so the person is able to collect it. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. You know what I mean? You think politicians know this? You think politicians, they know these little facts about the people that they serve? Of course not. You know what I mean? They're busy working with hedge funds and getting money to skew for tax incentives so they can continue making money. You know what I mean? I'm saying this specifically in Arizona. If you look at some filings, you'll be able to see some donations that certain senators received. And the sad part is I know that senator too. She wrote about me when I won Tucson's 40 under 40. In terms AMC, there is a couple of news, AMC wise. Let's switch this box a little bit. To like celebrate cinema. Cinemas around the kind of a cinema movement. They made a lot, like they made around a couple of $1 million, like I think a little bit more than $10 million, which is great. And then it's a nice little tribute. And I just made a video about AMC up in the great part of town here, very affluent. But I will tell you, there's so many. The people there are so freaking fake. I tell you, I don't want to talk smack about it, but they're so freaking fake. There's like a little cat there, so she's a little kitten. She's just having a good time jumping up and down. She's so freaking cute. But yeah, dude, it's so like, I go to this gym in that part of town, and it's just like, it's like I just want to gag of how fake it is. It's so freaking fake. Like the smiles people put is just, it's just so like bougie. You know, Scottsdale, they call it like, there's a nickname for it. It's called Snobsdale and all that. It's so true. Like whenever you like think, when you walk in a room and you think like you're better than someone because of like your education, your money, your car you drive, it is the most stupidest thing that you can possibly do, because at the end of the day, if you fast forward 1,000 years and they dig you up from the ground, if you don't get cremated, they're just going to see the same skeleton, man. They're not going to see your degrees. They're not going to see your education, you know, your money, what you own. They're not going to see any of that. You feel me? You know? So, something interesting. Al, do you ever sleep? No, I did sleep. I slept at 9, and I wake up around 2 to 3, at like 2:30, 3 o'clock. Sleep around 5 hours. I wake up like this because surgery starts around 6, but sometimes it starts around 5. And it's nice to wake up at 3 because it trains me to be able to be functional at any part of the hour. Neurosurgery is really tough. It's about in residency 120 plus hours a week. 120 plus. It's around 17 hours a day of work. And I'm training it's all mental, just like the stock market. It's a mental thing. And I just want, you get to a point where you're just like, oh, this is easy. I can function like this. Because the thing about neurosurgery is the hospital can be calm, and then shit hits the fan, and there's like 7 patients that need you. One patient has a platelet problem, they're bleeding in their brain. The other patient, comes in with a motor vehicle accident. I've seen this, another patient comes in with a gunshot wound who's paralyzed. Just all this comes in really quickly, especially at a level 1 trauma center, which is amazing to work at, because you get amazing experience. So yeah, and I just, you know what I mean? We'll be able to have enough time to sleep when we're long gone, right? But I wanted to show you this. This is a different culture. It's a different video. I mean, intrinsic value and all these facts, and it's a culture. Again, it's nice to see different parts, because a lot of people view this channel from other places outside of the United States, and some of them have this fallacy that America is just wealthy. No, there's pockets that are really bad here. Is this freedom? Do you consider this freedom? I feel like poverty is it's just a virtual shackles that you have to work in order to survive. And these folks here, they work 24/7. They work 24/7. They have so many jobs, and it's not like normal. They're working hard jobs, concrete jobs. We're talking jobs. They come back here, and they're like stacked up with like cement all over their body. It is a tough. It's tough. Anywho, see how they got their trucks now, getting ready for work. You feel me? And what time is it now? Yeah. And it's Labor Day. Hold on, Sonia. It's Labor Day. See what I'm saying? ready for work. So appreciate the situation that you guys have. It's a privilege and honor to get to a position to learn about the stock market. Because to get to that level, there has to be a certain level of criteria that's set through the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Having a stable place to stay, having the mental capacity to be able to learn something on top of your daily routine, having the ability to essentially have enough time to be able to process this, and having the language capability to read the information and understand. It is a privilege to be at that level. And I just wanted to show you this different slither of the United States that most folks don't look at, right? There's homeless shelters I also volunteer at that we help, and it's just different. It's just different. And I always like to come here to remind myself how I started, to always remain humble. Because too often than not, I hear some, not all, but some physicians talk about, oh, my neurosurgeon, he was such an a-hole or something like that, or he was so mean to me, or, I don't want that. I want my future patients to be like, dude, this guy cares so much about me. I mean, I want to get to a point where every procedure that I do in the future, I want to have their birthdays documented, and I don't care. I'll hire a secretary just for this, to where we'll be able to write cards for them for the rest of their lives, and I can sign it that says happy birthday, I hope you're doing fine. We'll just send it every single year. That's the type of physician I want to be. And I feel like coming back to my base, because now I delegate this position. I'm like, I'm not on the ground anymore. I used to lift the produce from my hands. Now to me, I just delegate everything. I organize the whole thing, and it's sadly all by email. But I like to come down here to remind myself, this is the people that we're serving here, and it feels good. It just feels good to see that we're making an impact. The kids come out and volunteer, and we provide them letters to get into research positions, to apply for college. We had a bunch of 17-year-olds. We even had people in the juvenile center that come here, or people that, for example, are about to be ICE and the Border Patrol saying, hey, no, we can take care of them. We can have them volunteer here to serve this country, and they'll be a good contributing member of society. There's just so much thing that just so much good that's come out of here. It's always good to come back to remind yourself, not because it's just when you make money and all that, it just, you feel like, oh, you're doing well and all these things, and you advance in your career, businesses are doing well, real estate, you're getting all this rental income, and all these things happen, and you just forget who you are. You forget where you're based, and it's nice to come back. It's nice to come back to remember this. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to remember before I die and before I leave this world, I'm not going to remember the money I made. I'm going to remember the impact. Remember every soul that we touched. So, the best advice I can give you guys is don't set out to make money. If you chase money, you'll honestly never get it. You have to chase impact. You have to have service. You have to touch people's heart. You have to make their life better. Then the money will follow. And you realize it's not really about the money. It's about the impact. Yeah. Let me read the comments here and I'll check out. I'm going to... I appreciate that, Scotty. No, it's true. The people that are the poor here are considered extremely wealthy in different areas. However, we do have pockets, though, in this country, like California, where you have tents of people on the street, tents, and it's tough. There's no right. I mean, the way they're trying to fix it is they're trying to make hotels accept the homeless, and is that the answer? It doesn't really solve the issue. Okay, that just gives them a place to stay for a day. How do you solve the issue? What is the root cause? Why did they become homeless? Obviously, there's many reasons. There's so many. You just got to study it. But the only way to study it is you got to go to the people. You got to start from what they know and build off of that. And that's not my quote. That's the quote from Lao Tzu, a very strong philosopher. Start from go to the people. Start from what they know. Then you can build it, which is what we did for the mastering course. You know, I did it. I could go in and I can teach you guys everything I know in literally like 3 hours, 5 hours. I can go ahead and just make quick lectures, talk really fast, and teach you everything. But you're not going to get anything out of it. I have to start from what you know, and that's what we did. We asked every question in the book. I learned exactly what are the weaknesses of folks, what are their questions, and we build on that. We build on that. That's how you start. That's how we started this nonprofit here. We came here and we started from what they know, and we built off of that. They love corn here, so we bring them corn. We bring them all these different types of food. They're cultural foods that they like. We're not going to go ahead and bring dragon fruit. They don't like dragon fruit. They're like, what the F is this? You can't just go in there and drop care packages and expect them to use it. You got to start from what they know. Just like when you go see a patient, you can't assume that every patient is the same. You got to go ask them questions. Why are they here? Why are they not adhering to their medication? Is it because they're uncompliant and they're bad patients? No, maybe because they just don't have the refrigeration needed to keep their insulin, because their insulin gets damaged out in outside temperatures, right? So you have to ask questions. You have to learn from the community before you start change, right? But that's kind of the things that I've learned in my short life. You know what I mean? I just these are things that I've learned. Yeah. So. Love you guys. I'm going to go ahead and God bless each and every one of you. And, we're going to continue teaching about the market. We're going to continue and moving forward and put God first. Do. I want to show you a Denzel Washington video in the future. I have a couple of videos I want to show you, things that I like to listen to that are really motivational, right? But I love you guys. And this is a different level of life here. That I feel like we need to talk about, right? Because they're all our brothers and sisters. We're all connected, whether we like it or not. We're all breathing and share the same breath in this world. Okay, we're all part of it. Okay. All right. Peace out, guys. Woo! The little loot thing.